Ashes. Believe it or not, Ash Wednesday is coming up on Wednesday. So I'm reflecting on that. My reflection this morning is about Ashes, Lent, Ash Wednesday, and what that even means and what that's about. Lent, the season of repentance and preparation. In fact, in the early church, it was preparation for baptism. It's the 40 days leading up to Easter, not counting the 6 Sundays. Self-reflection and remembering what it says in the Book of Common Prayer, the prayer for Ash Wednesday. And many of us in our history, or maybe this year, will even go to a service where ashes will be put on our forehead and the priest or the pastor will say, "From the dust you were created, and to the dust you shall return," giving us a sense of our mortality, how short life is, and to prepare and to reflect on what lasts forever, everlasting life, everlasting love. So that tradition where we give up something for Lent, I have a challenge for you today. Instead of giving up candy or meat or whatever it is you may think of, what about giving up self-condemnation, self-criticism, and self-contempt? Because I found in my own life that my experience with depression comes from self-hatred. And there's a beautiful prayer in the prayer for Ash Wednesday in the Book of Common Prayer that says this: God hates nothing he has made. And can you and I live that out through Lent and each day of our lives? You see, I'm reminded of Martin Luther back in the day. He was a Catholic priest and developed this doctrine of grace, saved by grace through faith. But he hated himself so much, he beat himself up. Self-flagellation. He would literally whip himself with a whip to punish himself because he thought he was so bad, so unworthy, so sinful. And I tell you what, Christians are good at beating up themselves, and somehow, in some way, they think that's pleasing to God. I don't think it is. I think God's heart breaks when we do that. We concentrate on our unworthiness, our unloveliness, our sinfulness, and that's not God's intention for us. So can we, during this season of Lent, learn to love ourselves? And we know that passage in Mark chapter 12. We know it. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and your neighbor as yourself. And we love God, we love others, but who do we leave out? Ourselves. And nowhere in the New Testament does Jesus or anyone command that we love ourselves, but Jesus assumes it, assumes we already are. Love your neighbor as yourself. He's assuming we're showing ourselves self-love because that we know that we're created by God, that we're loved by God. He's not in for us to be hating ourselves, critiquing ourselves, criticizing ourselves, putting ourselves down. He's assuming it. So what if you and I, especially those of us who struggle with this, what if you and I were the least? You know that passage in Matthew 25 talks about the sheep and the goats. It says, whatever you did to the least of these, you've done unto me. Well, what if you and I considered that we also were the least? Because we often treat others better than we treat ourselves. If we were the least, and what if we extended self-kindness and self-compassion to ourselves? I've heard it said that unless your compassion includes yourself, it's incomplete. What if we were the least who were also deserving of kindness and love and mercy? So for this 40 days of Lent, I got a practice or a suggestion for you and I. What if we, in what we said and what we thought, did not have a negative, unkind, or unloving thought towards ourselves? And if we did, we just released it and know that it wasn't the truth, because God hates nothing he has made. So you and I better get busy on this journey of not hating ourselves or anything about ourselves, right? Don't you think? So this practice, the parts that God hates nothing he has made, including the parts in ourselves that we hate. So maybe I'll just close with this. My brain's getting a little numb in the 17 below weather here. Maybe I'll just close with this from that Danish philosopher, Søren Kierkegaard. Don't forget to love yourself. So for these days of Lent, remember, God hates nothing he has made. And until next time, may you live all the days of your life.